of weeks ago I posted a video about why you might want to work from home and listed 10 benefits to doing so. Some of these include more time with your family and for yourself, freedom and flexibility, a chance to work at what you enjoy, and the prospect of financial freedom. You can watch the video to see more. However, there are some disadvantages to running your own business too, and while I personally think the benefits outweigh the disadvantages, these things shouldn't be overlooked. The following 10 warnings are not intended to throw cold water on the idea of being an entrepreneur or to be negative for the sake of it, but to help you honestly evaluate where you are at and whether this is the right journey for you. So, here are the 10 warnings. Number 1, it will be hard work. If you're thinking that working for yourself will be easier than working for someone else, then you need to have a rethink. Those who are at the point of enjoying many of the benefits of being an entrepreneur have worked very hard to get there. However, if you do work hard and persevere, then there's no reason why you can't enjoy the benefits too. Just don't expect it to be easy. Number 2, it takes time. While it is possible that your business could take off and be profitable within the first year, it's more likely that it will take longer than that before you're enjoying the kind of lifestyle you dream of as an entrepreneur. It takes time to build your reputation and social presence, as well as to build up a resume of work and happy customers. A lot of entrepreneurs give up too soon because they expect the financial freedom and more time aspect to happen a lot sooner. In reality, you're likely to have less time for your family and yourself as you get your business up and running. However, once you get past the startup phase, you're likely to have more time for your family and yourself. So it should be a short-term situation, but maybe longer than you anticipate. 3, it can be lonely. Going out on your own can be a lonely experience physically and emotionally. If you're working from home, then it may be that you don't see or interact with other people for a large part of the day. Some people will find that very difficult. However, even if you work in an environment where there's other people, the unique stresses and responsibilities that an entrepreneur experiences, as against working for someone else, can make it hard for others to understand and relate to what you're doing. It's worth bearing in mind your personality and what would work for you. It's totally doable, and I love working from home, but it'll be more of a challenge for some people. 4, expect failures. It would be great if we could succeed right away without mistakes or failures left in our trail. However, that's not how life works. As kids, we learn by trial and error, and it's the same as adults. In many areas of life, we try things out, and sometimes things work out and sometimes they don't, and we learn from these experiences. When starting a new business, you should expect to make mistakes, but rather than give up and think it's not something you can do, learn from them and move forward with greater confidence that you're actually closer to getting it right. Many famous entrepreneurs and business people who have hugely successful companies have a history of mistakes as well as failed businesses in their past. They learned from them and used what they learned to keep moving forward, and you can too. 5, financial risk. Giving up a steady income can seem like a risk, unless you take into account the risks of being made redundant, of course. And depending on what business you do, there are varying degrees of financial risk. If your business needs a separate building with employees, that's a bigger risk than working from home by yourself. The thing is, while the risks are real, you can choose how you look at it. On one hand, you can stick with the comfort of working for someone else and having a steady income with lower risk, but you'll never achieve the same lifestyle or freedom by playing it safe. Or you can give that up to risk a higher income, doing something you love and enjoying more quality of life. Unlike a game show where many times it's a bit of luck whether you win the big prize, and as a contestant you can be torn as to whether to stick with the prize you already won or trade them all in to win the big one. Being an entrepreneur is less luck and more perseverance and wisdom. So get some good training from proven mentors and persevere at something you know the public wants and you can provide, and there's actually not as much risk as you think. 6, expenses or investments. To start with, you will need to invest in your business before you can get anything out of your business. That can feel very hard, especially as the bank account dwindles or debts increase. However, as with anything, you need to invest in it in order to get anything out of it. So rather than look at your outgoings as expenses, think of them in terms of investment. Eventually, wise investment will deliver results. 7, you have to do everything. On one hand, it's quite nice to have variety in your work. However, working for yourself means you have to do everything. including the things you don't like or you're not naturally good at. You can hire other people to do some of the work for you if you're in a position to be able to do so, or you literally can't manage without. However, many people start off their businesses doing everything, and there's always going to be those parts of your business that can get overwhelming or be very draining, such as paperwork, sorting legal stuff and finances, as well as some of the mundane parts of whatever it is you specifically choose to do. As your business grows, you can hire someone to do those things you're not good at or you don't like, but it's worth being aware that it's likely to be your job to start with. 8. Work-life encroaching on home life. In the early days, it'll be hard to separate yourself from your work because there will be so much to do, and as I just mentioned, you have to do everything. It's very easy to work all the hours there are because there's no longer the distinction of work hours, such as when you're working for someone else. Whereas you can leave your job behind at the end of the workday and come home to relax, spend time with family, enjoy hobbies or whatever, it's not quite the same when there isn't that distinction between work and home. You would want to be very aware of that temptation, especially if you have a family, and make sure to do what's necessary to leave time in the day for your family. Having a good strategy and plan in place for your business and home life is a must. 9. Responsibility. When you work for someone else, you don't carry the same kind of responsibility. You can go to work and then leave work behind knowing that you will get your paycheck at the end of the month. However, when you work for yourself, you're responsible for getting the work and making the income needed to provide for yourself and your family. That can feel like a huge burden at times, and you need to take on board how that affects you and your family and be prepared if things are financially harder for a while. 10. Haters. Unfortunately, we live in a world where not everyone is patient or kind. There are people who think social media is available for them to vent their feelings, and it's a place where they can feel they can be rude and impolite without the repercussions they might get saying the same things in person. It can be very discouraging to encounter that kind of feedback against you when you're trying your best to promote your business in a legitimate way. Obviously, if you're doing undesirable things such as spamming people, they might have a point. However, there is that aspect of putting yourself and your business out there that leaves you vulnerable to the opinions of others, which can sometimes be less than helpful or encouraging, no matter what you do. I hope that's been helpful as you consider whether starting your own business is the right path for you. I don't want to discourage you from doing so because I personally think starting your own business is a great way to go. However, it's important to weigh up the pros and cons because you don't want to jump into something and later regret it. Being your own boss is exciting and rewarding, but you do want to set yourself up for success and not failure by having realistic expectations. You can do this by giving yourself a secure foundation, doing your research, talking to experts, and educating yourself in how to best plan and prepare for a successful launch. You also want to consider your weaknesses and strengths. Weaknesses or concerns in any of the previous things I mentioned should not be a reason not to start your own business. However, you do want to prepare yourself and make a plan to grow in your areas of weakness, as well as to put things in place to help you. If you have an interest in starting your own business, then I encourage you to subscribe to my channel for more videos on this subject as I share my own journey and tips along the way. Also, please leave a comment below to let me know what might be holding you back from working for yourself. If I can be of any help or encouragement, it would be my pleasure. Finally, if you like this video, then please hit the like button below and share with your friends, and I look forward to catching up with you next time.